All right, there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the official first 2026 public webinar for Daytrip. It is an honor that you guys have taken this time out of your day to join us. I think we are still going to see some more people in the waiting room trying to get admitted. So periodically I'll be admitting people if I fully am just zoned out. It's because we just have such a huge crowd trying to get in. But you guys are here first. You are honored guests. I am so happy that you are spending this time with us today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Emma. I am a junior customer success manager here at Daytrip, and I am joined this evening for us because we're based in Prague, by my colleague Sarah Guido. And maybe if you joined us last month, then you have seen us on one of these webinars before, but if not, then you will be seeing us today. You'll be seeing more of Sarah than you did last month, and she will also be doing more of these down the road. So we're all just friends here. We're all going to get to know each other. It's going to be a very casual space to ask your day trip questions. Of course, learn more about the Yucatán Peninsula. But before we get started, I do want to ask our classic couple of questions, which is basically where you're joining from. It's always nice for us to know. Like I said, we're based in Prague, but as you can probably hear from this accent, I am not Czech. I am from Ohio. My girl Sarah is from Pennsylvania. So we've got some Midwest, Northeast representation here. Let us know where you're joining from. We also would love to know if you have used Daytrip before. I do recognize some names, so I know some of you have used us before, but if you have not used us before, also let us know. It doesn't really matter if you are a Daytrip seasoned professional or if this is the first time you joined us, you accidentally joined this webinar not having any idea what you're getting into, you'll learn something new. So we're all here for the next, 35 or so minutes, 35 to 40 minutes to learn about the Yucatan beyond Cancun. So I think it's best to just get started. So I wanted to give you a brief rundown of the table of contents. Of course, we're going to begin with why Daytrip, why you guys joined today, especially for the people who accidentally joined this webinar having no idea what it was. We're going to kind of bring you into things with why Daytrip. From there, I'm going to hand things over to Sarah, who's going to talk about the Yucatan Peninsula specifically, especially outside of Cancun. We all know about the Yucatan Peninsula, we all know about Cancun, and so she has put her blood, sweat, and tears into finding some different places for you guys that maybe you've heard of before, but she'll have some tips and tricks. Maybe you haven't heard of the places before. The one disclaimer I do want to give is that it's really hard when you're in these cold climates like we are here in Prague to look at these beautiful beach photos. So by the end of this webinar, it is my sincerest hope that you can also plan trips for yourselves to Mexico so you can actually go to these beautiful beaches, and you will have all of the insights that you need about the different states in the Yucatan Peninsula, all the places to go. So Sarah will be focusing on that. Then she's going to switch it back over to me and I will take care of the booking tutorial, because there's just no point in us talking about all of this stuff if you can't book it yourself for your clients or yourself. Why not? We're here for you for that as well. So I'll take you over to our website so you can kind of get the rundown on how to book these different trips. I'll show you a nice example of our multi-city feature. And then I will also be highlighting a new feature we recently launched that maybe you don't know about, our reserved bookings. And then I will give you a little bit of a preview into something new that is going to be launched for you guys. And then of course, we will have our classic FAQ session. I know that the chat is already having people type in there. I think it's just the answer to the original questions, but that chat is exactly where you can keep asking your questions, especially once Sarah takes over. Then I'll be in there interacting with you guys, answering your questions. So please keep them coming in there. And then we do have a dedicated time at the end so we can touch on some common questions, anything that I'm not able to get to. And, it's just going to be a really nice casual few minutes here. But let's kick it off with the why day trip section so we can get to the good stuff. For those of you who are already familiar with us, or maybe if you've attended a webinar of ours before, this is going to be very familiar, but it's really important that we all know the basics before we get to the cool stuff so that we can then pair the basics and the cool stuff and create a perfect product with Daytrip. So we are a convenient door-to-door private car transfer service. We do work globally. As you can see here, we are operating in over 130 countries around the world. And that's really important because we know that there are a lot of places here where you have a hard time finding transfer services. So we can be your go-to, and we want to make sure that you know if there's a trip that you're planning and you're like, ooh, how do I do it? Go to Daytrip. As you'll see here, we are flexible. We are customizable. Our website is super user-friendly. So you can do custom routes, you can do all sorts of things to really plan the transfers that you need to your exact specifications. And the important thing about our service is that we are able to keep your clients connected with our network of over 11,000 vetted English-speaking drivers. In the next slide, I'll touch on that a little bit more. But before I move on, I do want to highlight our fantastic customer support team. They are there for you 24/7. This means that they are always there on the other end of the phone. They're always on the other end of the email. They're always there to answer your chats on our website as well. They truly are 24/7. We have two offices here in Prague and then actually one in Mexico, which is perfect for this webinar. So you know that you are covered all around the clock. And I think that's just nice because like your clients rely on you when they have issues, when they have questions, but you can rely on us when it comes to this service. Your clients are also welcome to get in touch with us directly. So it's kind of just like support for everybody all along the way. We are here for you. And this is what I said I was going to talk a little bit more about when we got to this slide. This is our driver vetting process. I know it kind of feels like an excessive thing to really break down, but I think it's important for you guys. I do get questions sometimes like, how do you vet your drivers? You're saying English speaking, but what does that mean? So this is exactly what it means. This means that we are vetting them by sitting down with them and really getting a feel for who they are. That's the step one of this whole process. So you can see there is a one-on-one interview with the Daytrip supply manager. We have supply managers all over the world. We operate in so many countries, and so of course we need drivers in all of those countries, and it's up to those supply managers to hire the drivers, make sure that we are a good fit for them, that they're a good fit for us, that it'll just be one beautiful relationship. From there are a couple more steps that are just more like logistical, making sure everything's good to go. But in that first interview, that's also where they'll check the English because it is important for us that their English is not just like, hi, how are you? Like we want them to be interacting with your customers. As you see in step 3, there is a customer service training. So it really is important to us that they meet all of these boxes for the Daytrip standard so that we can really make sure that they're a good fit for us and that your clients will be happy with them. I do want to highlight that number 4 says approval. And if you've joined one of these webinars before, you know what I'm about to say, which is that I wish I could edit this slide to have a ... after approval, because that's not the end all be all. There's always going to be a check on them. If we find out that maybe the driver is not operating up to the Daytrip standard, then we will have a conversation with them. We'll pull in the supply manager to remind them of the standard, to keep checking their progress going forward, making sure they're operating exactly as they're meant to. From there, if we do find out that maybe things are not going super smoothly, we may have to reevaluate cooperation. So that's why I wanted to really show this slide, not only to focus on like how we actually interview the drivers, source the drivers, but we wanted to make sure that you know this is not like you're hired, bye, never talk to you again. Like we are really in close contact with them, much like our support team is in contact with you guys. They are also in contact with the drivers, the supply manager. So it's just like everyone is always talking to everyone. As you can tell, I'm a yapper, so that's everyone here. It's really great. It just works out super well. And I know it's also important for you to understand the kind of vehicles that we offer because I think sometimes I do see some requests about larger groups. So I know that our largest option on our website is a van, and you can see that it goes up to 7 passengers per vehicle, but that does not mean that that is all we can accommodate. You are more than welcome to book beyond 7 people. We can accommodate larger groups in multiple vans. If it's like a van MPV combo, van sedan, whatever you want it to be, our website will automatically give you a suggestion of the best way to accommodate your travelers in a different combination of vehicles. So I did just kind of want to highlight this and make sure that you knew that these were the options, as well as our luxury service. This is a relatively new service that we have offered. It's not available in all of the 130 plus countries where we operate, but you can get it in Europe, in select countries like South Korea, Japan. If you see when you're booking that the luxury option is there, then that means it's available there. It's just not available all across the board, so just keep that in mind. But with the luxury service, the vehicle requirement is a little bit stricter. The cars cannot be manufactured more than 5 years ago, where the Daytrip standard is 10 years ago. So that's the difference there. The driver arrives suited up, very professional. So if you have those luxury high-end clients, that's a great option for them. So now I'm going to turn things over to my colleague, Sarah. She is going to get to the meat of the presentation, and you will be hearing from me later on when it comes to the booking tutorial. But for now, keep those questions coming. I will be in the chat. And Sarah, please take it away.
Hi there, everyone. Emma, thank you so much for the very warm welcome. So she mentioned earlier, my name is Sarah Guido, and I'm the B2B marketing specialist here at Daytrip. So I'm really excited to be getting to know all of you and getting to interact in our Daytrip travel agent community through webinars like this and through our newsletter and our Facebook group. As Emma mentioned, I am actually from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as you can tell by my accent. I have been living in Prague for almost the past 4 years, and it is amazing. But let's get to the topic. So today we're going to be talking about the Yucatán Peninsula, and it's very popular. And on the next slide, you can see why it became popular. So actually here, we're going to orient ourselves first. We are actually ghost dealers. I see in that. Hey, that was Emma. All right, everyone. So We are here in Mexico, and then we are situated on the Yucatan Peninsula. So it's bordered with water on all sides. The Gulf of Mexico is to the north, and we have the Caribbean Sea next to it. And we also are bordered by Belize and Guatemala. This makes it a really beautiful destination spot, and it's great for people from the northern hemisphere to travel south during the winter months to get a bit of sun. And then, as I said earlier, what actually makes this peninsula unique? So this can be described very much with the name that we're talking about with the peninsula. So the Yucatan, the source of the name is actually disputed. It could be from the Aztec word meaning richness or a place of richness. So this means that the Yucatan Peninsula has jungles, coral reefs, cenotes, mangroves, and beaches, all within a really short driving distance. And the whole span of Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, is actually quite small. I learned that Mexico is actually the 13th largest country in the world, which is very interesting. But this area is really dense with beauty and cultural significance and different things for your travelers to discover. And another idea of where the name Yucatan actually came from is the response that the Spanish explorers heard when they asked, "Where are we?" They heard something that sounds like Yucatan, but in the Mayan language, it actually sounded like, "I don't understand what you're saying." So there's a lot to discover on this peninsula. There's richness, and there's also just stuff that you might not know. And the great thing about this is that it has really unique bedrock. So it's actually all made out of limestone, which is really porous. So it doesn't allow a lot of surface water to actually sit. So then this creates cenotes, which are sinkholes that open up cave systems that have freshwater rivers running through it. So for travelers, this is immensely interesting because it is clear blue water underground in a cave that you can snorkel in, dive in, and see the marine life that's living in it. And so for this region, it's a really essential source of fresh water, and the Aztec and Mayans who settled this region use these as really sacred ritual sites. And when we're talking about Mexico, everyone actually talks about these cenotes because they're cool. And there's a really interesting and maybe mysterious reason that they exist. The giant asteroid that eliminated all of the dinosaurs might be a reason that all of these underground caves actually exist. So on the next slide here, you can see actually there are some concerns for this peninsula. As you guys are our travel advisors, you know that there's a really big idea of going to tourism on this idea of the Maya Riviera. But unfortunately, this has resulted in a bit of over-tourism for this peninsula. There's been a lot of unmanaged development of all-inclusive resorts and transportation, and just lots of deforestation has resulted in this. And this area is perfect for maybe older populations, families who are looking to have everything all included and in one space where they feel safe. But it also leaves out the actual essence of Mexico and the culture that there is to discover on this peninsula. And there are also some environmental concerns for this peninsula. So as you can see here on the bottom right picture, this is actually a picture of Tulum, which is so interesting because it has the Mayan ruins actually on the coast. So you have the ruins right above you and then the crystal blue Caribbean waters right below. But you can see this seaweed, it's actually called sargassum, and it's naturally occurring in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in really big formations. But due to deforestation and just general man-made issues that are being poured into our waterways, unfortunately, the increasing CO2 levels, I learned, are actually creating bigger masses of this seaweed to move towards the Caribbean. And unfortunately, that creates a really bad experience for marine life and also travelers who are looking to enjoy these beaches. And then another environmental concern is the Tren Maya, which you can see up here, which is a really great infrastructure advancement for Mexico. This is the Mayan train. It's a high-speed railway that was recently opened in 2024. It connects all major towns and cities on the Yucatan Peninsula. But as a result, it did result in environmental damage. Lots of jungles and really precious and fragile ecosystems had to be a little bit demolished to get this train running through it. And also those beautiful cenotes that I mentioned on the slide before, really big pillars had to be drilled through them to support this really big train. So while it is a really interesting advancement, it was met with some controversy. On the next slide. We have our need to knows of this peninsula. So I'm not looking to dissuade anyone from traveling to Mexico or this peninsula, but I think it's really great to highlight other destinations that are just as fantastic, but do not have the PR going for it, basically. So as we know, the international airport that mostly everyone will fly into is Cancun. It has fantastic connections from all over the world. But travel within this peninsula can be chaotic with different taxis and just different options. And then on the peninsula, they still use the Mexican pesos. And if you're looking to recommend a really unique and local souvenir for your travelers, we would recommend original hammocks. So actually about 1,000 years ago, it can be tracked that hammocks, the wide weaving of these natural fibers, were invented in Mayan and Aztec culture. It's really essential for the hot, humid climates of this peninsula to keep people off the ground. And when they gently sway, it creates a breeze, and it's really amazing. So it's a really big part of the local culture and economy for these hammock creators. So we really recommend getting them, and they can ship globally. And something that is really interesting, that is a movement in this peninsula to kind of combat the previous concerns that I mentioned, is community-based tourism. And you guys will all receive the slides in our post-webinar email. But you could actually click this link to see a really cool resource of community-based tourism. And this is an initiative to support local economy and culture using local guides who are descendants of the Mayan people and who still practice this culture to this day. You can try their cuisine, get really amazing hospitality service, and get an authentic experience. All right, so to move on, the Yucatan Peninsula is actually broke down into 3 states. And then I'm going to start with Quintana Roo on our next slide. So this is the one that we all have probably heard about. It contains Cancun, Tulum, Cozumel, Playa del Carmen, and all of these other really big beach hotspots. But interestingly enough, this is actually the youngest state in the Yucatan Peninsula. It was established in 1974, and the development of Cancun was actually for tourism. And it was really successful, and it brought amazing economic benefits to this peninsula and to Mexico as a whole. But it is very crowded, and it offers a very cramped experience sometimes for travelers who are looking for a bit more adventure. An alternative that I recommend, you can see this on the bottom right picture. It's the Bacalar Lagoon, and it's actually referred to as the Lake of Seven Colors. So this is because all of the differences in depths of the water in this clear blue lagoon makes for 7 colors that you can see. And it's a really amazing opportunity. It's down south in the Yucatan Peninsula, so below Tulum and everything, towards the Belize border. And yes, I absolutely agree. I wish I was there. It's very cold here. But this lagoon is super interesting, and you can kayak, you can canoe, and you can take local guides to give you the best of this region. But a warning about Quintana Roo, just in general, as I mentioned, the seaweed is most prevalent in this area. And then also Xeret, which I believe you say X as like an SH in Spanish. This Xeret Park has a lot of ethical concerns. If you've heard of this, it's a really big experience where you can go have natural experiences, and it's like a Mayan themed amusement park. But it has been ethically raised that they are appropriating like Mayan symbols, and it's just not a very authentic experience. And also, there's animal welfare concerns. So, would not recommend going there. Try out a more authentic experience in another place. All right. All right, so a way to use Daytrip to really optimize your time. So for example, if your clients still want to go to the hotspot of Tulum, which would be fantastic, you can use Daytrip, which is one of our products. So this is a round point A to point A transfer with our vetted English-speaking day trip drivers. So, for example, you can take a day trip from Tulum to the Mayan ruins on the left here, and then this biosphere reserve. And this would take about 8 to 9 hours, and our automated really interactive system will give you suggested stops on what is best for your clients to try out, and it gives a suggested itinerary. So it makes your planning easier and it gives your clients a really great experience. All right, and now the second state out of the three is the Yucatan. So the main towns here are Mérida and Valladolid. And this is a really amazing, it's a cultural hub of the peninsula. So you can see Mayan ruins. So I'm pretty sure that you guys all would recognize the name Chichen Itza. This is now one of the modern seven wonders of the world. It's a really huge Mayan pyramid, which is a must-see in Mexico. And you can also go to Uxmal, which is a less tourist populated, but even a bigger kind of campus of Mayan ruins that offer really interesting opportunities to discover. So Merida also, which is the cultural hub of this peninsula, they have a lot of fun festivals. So we missed it, unfortunately, at the beginning of January, but they have Merida Fest. And this is a celebration of the city's founding. This year in 2026, which actually the 484th annual existence of Merida, which is an insanely long time. And then also, they have the Merida Carnival, which is very popular in Central and South America. And this runs from February 11th to the 18th. And it has international music talents coming in to perform in the city center and in some areas outside. So it's like a festival, which is really exciting. All right, and how you can use Daytrip to really optimize your travel. So, for example, if your clients fly into Cancun, but they want to go to Merida, they have some time and they want to stop on their way. So, a way to turn their travel day into a really amazing experience. So, if you're thinking that you have a really big travel buff who wants to, or a history buff who wants to see all of these Mayan ruins, but doesn't want to go out of their way on their travel time. So they can do it with a day trip driver. So as I said, from point to point, we have a point A to point B transfer, and then our algorithm will suggest ideal stops along the route. So you can see the really famous Chichen Itza, and then also you can stop at Ikbalam, which is a very big Mayan resort or Mayan archaeological site that is super interesting to visit. But you can visit both of these on your stop or on your transfer, and you can really experience more of the culture rather than just flying past it or driving past it. So then the last of our three states is Campeche. This is actually the calmest of the three states. It's on the farthest west. So it's farthest from the mass tourism on the East Coast near Cancun. And this area is really great for clients who are looking for a longer stay on the peninsula. So usually people fly into Cancun, they'll stay over in Merida and then go to Campeche after. This area is really interesting because they have mangroves, jungles, rivers, lakes, lagoons, and estuaries. And it all has that clear blue, fantastic water that you just want to jump into. And there's really interesting food in this region, actually. So here on the top right, you can see brazo de la reina, which is actually hard-cooked eggs that gets wrapped in banana leaves. And then they put it underground to cook in a thing called a pib. So it's a really traditional way of cooking in Mayan culture. So it's a really great way to experience a really unique food that's really tasty, as well as a cultural experience as well. And then down here is pan de cazan, which is actually dogfish. And it's really popular in this region of the Yucatan Peninsula. And it is a layered dish of tortillas, and then this fish, and then a really amazing, like slow roasted spicy tomato sauce on top. And it looks so good. All right, and then a simple transfer that Daytrip is so great at providing is a point A to point B. So, for example, if your clients are in Merida, but they want to go to the smaller town of Campeche, they can take a Daytrip transfer. So, our Daytrip transfer will pick you up from your door and deposit you wherever you would like to go straight in Campeche. And down here are some stops that you can add along the way in our algorithm and in our product. All right, and now I'll pass it over to Emma to give you guys a booking tutorial for how to use our website.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. I really zoned out during that because I was just like, yes, I want to go here. I want to see all these beautiful colors. I want to see all these beautiful beaches, eat this amazing food, like especially the one that you mentioned that's like the Bay of Seven Blues or Seven Colors, whatever it is. Like I would like to see all of those colors in one place at one time, and it looks so amazing. We also got a really nice question in the chat that I just want to bring up really fast because I think it's relevant, and I'm sure other people here were wondering the same. Hillary asked if the driver is acting as a tour guide at these stops, especially like along the sightseeing stops that you saw or the day trips. I think this is a very good question, so I just wanted to bring it up now. So basically, when it comes down to the sightseeing stops, the drivers are not certified guides. They are always local. They're happy to offer recommendations, tips, tricks, basically like suggest some historical facts and stuff like that to the clients, but they are not certified guides. So if you do want a certified guide, make sure that you're just booking that in tandem. When it comes to our day trips, the ones that Sarah highlighted, we also have some that are guided. So just make sure if you're booking a day trip that you can like double check the inclusions on our website. We'll have it listed out there very plainly if the tour guide is the driver, if the driver is not a guide and you have to book the guide separately. But with everything you'll see when I go to the booking tutorial that we have it all listed out super easily on our website so you can see the exact timing, like what time your clients will get picked up, what time they'll arrive at the different sightseeing stops, or what time they'll arrive in the destination for the day trips. And that can help you really know like, okay, they're arriving at 9:45, so I want to make sure that the guide is ready to go at 10 and then that the tour is like going to not have too many extra things in it, or like you'll have the right amount of time for the sightseeing stop or for the day trip. So it's really easy to plan it all in tandem. So I just wanted to take that moment to interject there. But I saw another thing come in the chat and I'm going to check it later. Oh no, I have some crazy things coming up on my screen now. Okay. So here we are on our website, our beautiful day trip website. And you may have noticed that we got a very slight but still important makeover right up here. If you have been on our website before, then you will see now we have this beautiful transfers button, by the hour, day trips. All of the services are still the same that they were the last time we talked, lol. Like, I don't know. That's how I feel about these webinars is like we're all friends and we're hanging out here. So the last time we talked, we had a slightly different look, but it's all the same services. The only main difference that I wanted to highlight is that our multi-city button, that if you were to use that service, which I will show you how to use, is down here instead of it being like a selection up here. So I just wanted to point that out before we began. I also want to point out the most important first step when you begin booking with us, which is to make sure you are logged into your travel agent account. That is how we know that your correct commercial conditions are applied, that everything will be funneled right into your trip, everything like that. So just make sure that you see your name up here in the corner. That's how you know you're logged into your account. From there, you're also able to go to your travel agent portal. And I want you to say a very tearful, sad goodbye to this beautiful website because we are getting a makeover. You will see probably in the next week and a half or 2 weeks, we are going to be launching. Yes, Sarah, that is the correct reaction. We are going to be launching a new travel agent portal. It is going to be everything that you guys have asked in, I don't know, the last 2 years of meetings that I've had with you, in all of these different interactions that we've had. We've had a lot of wonderful feedback about what would make your lives easier, what would help you guys use Daytrip. We have incorporated all of that and we are putting it into a new travel agent portal. So it's going to look completely different on this page, but you'll still be able to manage all of your bookings, confirmed and reserved, in case you didn't know we had that. Surprise, that's a new one. I'm going to show that to you though during the actual booking flow a little bit better. And you'll also be able to access anything else. Yours may look slightly different than mine depending on how your registration is with us, but this is the basic format that we have right now, and it's going to change so soon, and I can't wait for you guys to see the new launch. So we will let you know when that's live, but I just wanted to give you the little sneak peek since you guys are like the cool gang here with us today. So now I just want to take you through the different options that we have on the website so you feel really comfortable to start booking with us. I think a point A to point B transfer is pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to go through the whole flow. I think it's more important to do the multi-city flow, but just in case it's helpful, I'll give like a very brief rundown of it, and I think we do have time for it too, so I might as well. So let's say if you have a client coming from Rome in the airport and you want them to go to Rome City Center, you just select. You'll also see that the return transfer in this new design is already like built into the feature here. You don't have to select if it's a one-way transfer or a return transfer. It's already here, which I think is a pretty user-friendly thing that you guys are probably used to with some of the other platforms that you use. So I'm hoping that this is also going to be very straightforward for you. But let's say that I just wanted this to be a one-way transfer. I would just choose the day that I'm departing, the time, and we have the every 15-minute slot. So you can pick pretty much exactly when you would like your clients to be picked up. Of course, you can pick the date as well. And then if you did want to add a return trip, you would add it here. It's the exact same calendar that you saw before. Oh, the gang is still joining. Wow, people are really like, I'm 30 minutes late, but here I am. I'm ready to learn. So welcome. For our latecomers, welcome. We're back onto the booking tutorial. And if you did miss something, we will be sending out the slides and a recording later to everybody. So don't worry, you will still get the good stuff. But here, yes, this is where I was. So we're adding a return trip if we want to. You don't need to. I'm not going to for this purpose, but you can add it exactly here using the calendar tool. And if you're like, actually, JK, they're going to stay there forever, you can get rid of it. And then, of course, it's the same feature that we had before, where you add the number of adults, the number of children. The number of children is, of course, always very important because if they need car seats, this is how we know that there is a child in the booking, and this is how we know what kind of car seat that you need. So just make sure you're like marking that properly. And if your clients do need extra baggage, any extra crazy things that they're traveling with, make sure you let us know either here. There's also going to be a space for it on the next slide. So this is how you would do a one-way or a return transfer, but I'm going to show you a multi-city transfer because I think this feature is super helpful for you guys. Oh, maybe I shouldn't get rid of it. So I think this is a really helpful feature when you are planning a bunch of different transfers. Like, most people, when they're going on a nice vacation that they're having their travel agent plan for them, they're not going to be like, okay, I've landed in this airport, I'm going to go to this city, and that's it forever, bye. Like, even though that was the example I gave just before of a one-way transfer, that's not super realistic. So I want to show you something more realistic, how you can use this tool to your advantage. So we're not going to be in Rome though, because we are in Mexico right now for this webinar. So we are going to go to Cancun. We're going to go to the Cancun airport. Your clients are flying into Cancun. Oh, wow, the gang is really still joining. So your clients are flying into Cancun airport, but they're not going to go to Cancun. They're going to go to Merida, actually. Merida, Yucatan. They're going to go on Thursday, March 26th, but 9 a.m., a little bit early. Let's go a little later. 11:15 a.m. is when they are going to have their transfer start, but that does not mean that's the time that their flight is landing. Of course, we want to add some buffer there. In my made up fantasy that I've created, these are American travelers, so they've flown in from the US to Mexico. They may not have like a ton of luggage, but we don't want to make them feel like they're rushed at the airport. So let's say they land at 9. Just kidding. Okay. I'm trying to do this math backwards, but like that's not working. I'm not very good at math. That's why I don't work as a mathematician. So let's say they land at 9. We want to add a little bit of a buffer. I'm going to say pick up at 9:30. So let's change it to 9:30 because they've landed at 9. We want them to have enough time to get their bags. It's always recommended to add a little bit more of a buffer just to be safe. You can always like chill out in the airport longer, but like no one wants to be rushed. No one wants to be panicked. Like, where's my driver? What am I going to do? However, we also have an included 60-minute wait period when it comes to airports, trains, cruises, like anything where you're relying on somebody else to get your clients somewhere. We do have a 60-minute included waiting period. So that's just an additional buffer, additional peace of mind for you guys. But in this reality, clients are landing at 9. The pickup is 9:30. Our driver will be there, meet and greet service in the airport, ready to take your clients to Merida. And then with our multi-city service, you can see that Merida has automatically populated here. Let's say your clients love to walk and they decided to walk from Merida somewhere else. You could, of course, get rid of the city and then have them get picked up wherever they decided to walk to. But my clients are not doing that. I chose the wrong one. There's a Merida in Spain also, which is really like throwing me off here. So yes, Merida, Yucatan, Mexico, that's us. Merida, the next place we're going to go is Valladolid, which Sarah mentioned before. There's also one in Spain, so make sure you're choosing the right country because that could get messy. Daytrip is very powerful, but we are not powerful enough to drive your clients from the Yucatán Peninsula to Spain. We are not there yet, maybe one day, but for now, make sure you're choosing the Mexican destinations if you're going to Cancun. And so my clients in this fake scenario that I've made up are going to stay in Merida a few days before moving on. This one's just a hotel pickup. Sure, 9 a.m. Let them seize the day. And then, of course, they're going to have to go from Valladolid back to Cancun. Sad, we're leaving. And that is going to be a few days later. For this one, it's the same kind of thing as with the pickup. Of course, you're going to the airport. I'm one of those crazy people where it's like I'm at the airport 4 hours in advance. Maybe your clients aren't that crazy, maybe they are. So it's kind of up to you how much time you want, but make sure you give them enough time to go through security, get their snacks, get their magazines, get their little Emily Henry book, all that stuff. So let's say they are going to be picked up from the hotel at 10:30. Their flight's at, I don't know, 12:30 or something. I actually don't know how long the ride is, so maybe they should be picked up before then. So let's see. Okay, and we only have 2 adults, 1 child traveling. Let's see what we got. So with our multi-city tool, as you can see here on the right side, it's all broken down perfectly. So it is going to be quite a drive from Valladolid. So make sure this is enough time for them to get to the airport. Make sure that's enough buffer time. If you need to go back, you can always click back and make sure that you're adding an extra buffer there. Whatever it is you need to do, your search is going to be saved, so it's all fine. This is also where you will then select the vehicle. For my purposes, my two adults and one child are going to be fine in their sedan. And it's always nice to see the inclusions here of door-to-door, driver speaks English, and sightseeing is available, which is very exciting. You will also see a breakdown on the price details, the different commercial conditions, and then, of course, our cancellation window of up to 24 hours before the trip. That is going to stay the same. And it's always nice to have that little reminder there in case you're not too sure. You're just like, whatever, just go ahead, just book it. Next, you are going to be able to add your stops. This is super important and really cool that we can add stops to every leg of our trip here. This is the same sort of stop addition that maybe you've seen with like a return transfer or one-way transfer. Basically, you can just click the little plus and that will add it onto your trip. So for Chichen Itza, one of the places that Sarah shouted out, we can add this onto our trip for 2 hours. That's the recommended stop time. You can add it for 48 USD. This means in case your clients didn't have a chance to see it while they were exploring the other cities that they were staying in, they can do this on the way. Like this one, for example, would be from Cancun to Merida. Maybe that's not the ideal one for them. So good thing they can do it when they're going from Merida to Valladolid. They can stop at Chichen Itza. So let's add it there. If you do add it and you're like, oh, maybe that's not enough time, they really love history, go for it. Let them do it. 4 hours. Have fun. And then you can add these stops on the way back as well. These are all of our recommended stops on the Daytrip website. However, if you do have your own custom stops you would like to add, we are happy to accommodate those as well. We have a custom route form that you can use. I'll highlight it when we go back to our website just so that you know where that is. And you can use those if you have your own stops you would like to add. So next, you just hit checkout and you are brought to the details and payment page. This is going to automatically be filled in because you took the most important first step of filling in your travel agent information. From here, you will add the lead passenger information. Sarah, surprise, I'm planning you a trip. And this is up to you if you want to include the email address. Your email is automatically going to be on here, meaning you get trip updates. But this is important if you would like your clients to get the updates. We are never going to send them anything that has price information, commission details, discount details, anything like that. This is just so we can keep them updated if their driver changes last minute, if they want to use the tracking link to track their driver. Any helpful trip updates will be sent to them, but they're not going to get any other information. This is really just meant to be like helpful for them, especially if you are going to like a different time zone or something. It's nice to know that they're going to get the updates while you're peacefully sleeping in your little bed. So that's up to you. I'm going to say, yeah, heck yeah, give them to her. I have no idea if this is your email. I'm just making this up. It doesn't matter. So Sarah's going to get the details. Of course, she is also over 18, but Sarah's baby is going to need a car seat. That is a newborn baby. They're going on a beautiful new family trip. So she is going to need a rear-facing infant seat. So I need to make sure that I include that in the booking. But if you do need a booking or if you do need a child seat up to 12 years, we've also got you covered. Just make sure you include it in the booking so we have the driver bring it. I can also include any special requirements here. If they had a wheelchair, if they were traveling with skis, which makes no sense for this part of Mexico, but you never know, other places maybe. Or if they're traveling with a pet, Sarah's a big dog girl, or bringing a dog. There we go. That's all we need to know. So our customer support team will know that. They will alert the driver, and the driver will be ready with those special requirements. This next section is where you're going to put in all of the vital information, the flight number, very important so that we can track your flight and make sure everything's good. So include that here. You can also use our technology here to set the location on the map. Like your clients are going to Merida, but like, I don't know, maybe they're staying at the Mickey House, but maybe they also want to go to KFC. Maybe they want to be dropped off at KFC. You can do that super easily on our website. It's really user-friendly and it can be truly like done to your exact specifications, which is super convenient for your clients as well. They don't have to walk crazy distances from like a central drop-off point or something like that. We can really accommodate them. So just make sure that you include all of the relevant details. And in case you don't have this information now, you don't have to add them right now. You can add these details up to 24 hours before the trip. So if you're still finalizing details, like narrowing things down, then you can just add them later from your travel agent portal that I showed you before. The last thing I want to highlight here on this page before I go back to our website, show you the custom route form, and then we go into some time for some questions, is our recent launch, which I'm hoping that many of you have seen by now, but in case you haven't, I do want to highlight that we have recently added a reserve now, pay later function, which is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of choosing to pay now for your trip, which is the first option, You can reserve now and pay later, which means that you will save the trip, save the details exactly as you have them, and then they will be saved as a reserved trip in your travel agent portal. When I showed you before, you could see that there were like under the drop down of manage bookings, it said confirm trips and then reserve trips. So that's exactly where you would find your reserved trips. And then that's where you'll go in once you're confirming the details with your clients. You know, it might take a couple days to hear back from them, and then they're like, good to go. Let's book. Good thing you already have it reserved in your travel agent portal. You just have to hit confirm, enter your payment information, and then the trip will be confirmed. It's really important that you go through and confirm it because the bookings that you have reserved will be canceled 48 hours before the trip. This is also subject to change. We're working on kind of figuring out the best way to operate it. So just keep that in mind that this feature is for you to make sure that you can confirm everything with your clients, make any necessary edits to the trip that you would need to, but have it saved in there for you so you don't have to go through the same like booking flow over and over again. So you can totally use that feature to just like save those details and then go back in and confirm it once you're ready in a few days. So that was something I definitely wanted to make sure to highlight here. Once you decide if you aren't going to reserve it, then you can just hit book now and you will be good to go. So that is the booking flow. And the good thing about our website is that the booking flow for this is the same for like literally everything. So once you've mastered a multi-city trip, you could truly like do anything on this website, including our by the hour service, which is also relatively new. So if you didn't know that we had this, this is exactly what it sounds like. So let's say, oops, my clients are in Cancun and they want a private driver for 6 hours. That means that this driver is going to be at their disposal for the entire 6 hours to take them within a 20-kilometer like mileage per hour. That's the average. So at the end of those 6 hours, 20 times 6, you will have that ability to go that distance in that amount of time. It's really nice if you were trying to just do kind of like a sightseeing thing. You just want to see the hot spots, see the local locations. Local locations, nice. That's exactly what this service is for. This is not really meant to be like a transfer because we already have the transfer. So if you wanted to do just a short transfer from Cancun from one hotel to another, you can book that as a transfer. If you wanted to buy the hour service, this is really meant to be like a private driver at your disposal for whatever it may be. So definitely check this out if you have never used it before. I actually spoke to a travel advisor not too long ago who used it in Budapest, not Mexico, I know, but still. And she could not say nicer things about it. Like she truly loved it. She used it for like a hair appointment to like sightsee, and that's exactly what this is meant to be. You know, when you're on vacation, you may not have a rental car, but you still want to get around and kind of like do those little things. This is a really great service for that. So you can get your hair done while you're on vacation, and Daytrip's got you covered. And it's the same booking flow that you saw before, the same deal. If you do happen to have luggage, if you do need car seats, just let us know there's children in the booking. And then the final thing to show here are day trips, which are exactly what it sounds like. And Sarah did highlight them a bit already, so I just want to show you how you book them. You just search up the city where your clients are based. You say search, and then you will see the beautiful pre-populated items that we have here. So these can be thought of sort of as like pre-packaged experiences because you see exactly where the clients will be going, exactly where our vetted English-speaking drivers will take them. These are the different options. We also have them sort of labeled by like the most popular, our top pick. You can see all the detailed breakdown of the timing, the pricing, everything like that. And as I mentioned before, the question, I believe it was from Hillary, if I'm remembering your name correctly. I don't see the chat right now. This is exactly where you'll find out whether the guide is included. We have some that are guided and the guide is the driver, the same person. And then we have some where the driver is not a guide, but they will still be taking your client, waiting for them, everything like that. And then you'll just have to book a guide separately. So if you see this, like admission tickets need to be paid separately, the guide needs to be booked separately, just keep that in mind so that you can plan appropriately. But you can see the breakdown of everything, and it's just really easy to plan even when the driver is not a guide. So that was the last kind of service I wanted to show. The final thing I'm going to highlight is our custom route form, which you can find very easily on our website, but you have to know like where. So basically, when you go in to book a transfer, at the very bottom drop down there, it'll say can't find your destination or need a round trip, request a custom route. You click on that bad boy, you can request a custom route. So you can do a one-way or a same-day round trip. And a same-day round trip is basically like a day trip, but if you don't see any pre-packaged ones on our website that you would like, then you could do it this way. So if you had something super specific, if your clients were coming from Cancun, but they wanted to stop at super specific Mayan ruins, like truly like they know their stuff and they're like, Daytrip doesn't have this. It's like, that's okay. We can accommodate. It's just not going to be a pre-packaged day trip. It's going to be a custom day trip. So we've got you covered there. Of course, the same with a one-way transfer. You can go from anywhere to anywhere basically, and you can add the stop if there's like a super specific souvenir shop. You want to buy a hammock? Sure. We'll stop along the way, let you buy your hammock. So I just wanted to make sure I showed you all of that. Whenever you do have time on our website, it's just nice to click around. There's really nice travel inspiration. Even if you were to just look in day trips, you can see we have some nice travel guides here about ski trips, Mexico's Pueblos Mágicos. So there's just really good inspo that we're really putting together for you guys. Sarah's working hard on a lot of this stuff as well. So if you're ever looking for inspiration, just check out our website. I think there'll be a lot of cool stuff for you to find there. So now I would like to return to our presentation. We are slowly running out of time, so I'm going to look in the chat and see what's going on. Okay, Sarah Smith. I know someone named Sarah Smith. That's so funny. That must be a pretty common name, though. Sarah Smith is asking, is there any cost savings to doing a multi-city versus individual booking? There is no difference in price. The real main focus of a multi-city feature is just to kind of make your lives easier because like the one that I showed you wasn't super extensive, but with a multi-city trip, you could do like 5 different transfers in one fell swoop. And so like the thought, even me, like I love our website and I use it quite often, but the thought of like going in and being like, okay, one transfer, booking and payment process, done. Two, like second transfer, booking and payment process done, like that would get quite tedious. And I know you guys all have multiple clients, you have a lot of things going on in your lives. So the multi-city feature is just meant to make your lives easier and let you do it all in one fell swoop. Like ideally do all the transfers for one booking. So you can just say like, okay, the transfer from the airport to the hotel, hotel to whatever site, like it's really great, especially for cruises. That's also something that we use it a lot for. If you have clients who are taking a cruise, so like they're flying into one city, then they need the transfer from the airport to a hotel to the cruise port, but then they're getting picked up like all the way over here. Then we can pick them up there, take them back to the next hotel wherever they're staying, and then take them to the airport. So it's just really nice to be able to like put these different journeys together. That's sort of the main feature of a multi-city trip. Okay, Dennis is asking, do you know if the multi-city option is available for agents who work with an API instead of the agent portal? It depends on your specific partner that you're working with, Dennis. If you're curious, you can reach out to me separately. I'm going to have my email at the end of this presentation. It just depends on who you're working with. Everybody is kind of like connected to us in a different way. There's a lot of different access to our website because we have a lot of partners. So just check with me individually if you are curious and we can figure something out. We can talk about it. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I will get you an answer. I do see there was like a second follow-up to Hillary's original question about whether the drivers were guides. So I just want to make sure I answer that for everybody else as well. She says, will the driver get out of the car and go along or stay in the car? Most often, I would say the driver is waiting in the car. We have had some clients who like invite the driver to go have lunch with them, go do whatever with them, but it's really up to the customer's discretion, whatever makes them feel comfortable. Like there was one time that I took a day trip and I had the most amazing driver in Albania, and I would have been like, yeah, let's go hang out. We're having lunch. Like, you're my new best friend. So in that case, of course, I would have been like, come on, let me buy you lunch. But it's completely up to your client's discretion. The driver really is at their disposal to do whatever makes them feel most comfortable. So please don't worry about it. If you're like not happy to have him go around, he doesn't have to. It's all fine. It's just up to the clients, whatever they prefer. So yeah, you're welcome. And I believe that was all the questions. Oh, we have another question. Kevin is asking, will there be water provided to clients in the vehicle? Yes, Kevin, great question. There will be water. The drivers will always make sure to bring water bottles. It's also important to note that the vehicles themselves are always going to have climate control. So if it's super hot, like in Mexico, in this part of Mexico, there will be air conditioning in the vehicles. If it's super cold, there will be heat. The vehicles are comfortable. They do go under that same like vehicle check that we talked about, and there will be water. Fear not. And actually, my driver in Albania gave me peanuts, which was amazing because I was so hungry that day. So the day trip drivers are just really great people, like genuinely. So I also have some questions that were submitted in advance. So I think maybe we can take like 5 more minutes to go over these. But basically, I wanted to select a few so you were aware of a couple things. And if anything else comes up in the chat, then we can answer it. Otherwise, we will just get out of here. So I just want to lay out the different services. The first question here, what are the different services you offer? I know I went over them on the website, but it can kind of sometimes feel like a mad dash. So just to lay it all out again. When it comes to transfers, we have one-way transfers, we have return trip transfers, and we have multi-city transfers. So we pretty much have you covered. You can add sightseeing stops to all of those, or you can just do a very basic A to B transfer or like ABA transfer, whatever it may be. We've got you covered when it comes to transfers. And then we also have our by the hour service, which is a private chauffeur at your disposal for the duration that you have booked it. And then we also have our day trips, and we have some that are guided, some that are not. So just make sure that you check the details in the booking when you're actually like going through the whole thing. Last minute bookings, the second question, what about last minute bookings? Yes, we are able to accommodate last minute bookings in many situations. Of course, it depends on the location. If we only have one driver in the area and he's already doing a trip, then we may not be able to accommodate, but we will do our absolute best. And the best way to find out about last minute bookings is to email our customer support team or book it directly on our website. It really just depends like how last minute we're talking, but you should be able to book it directly on our website or contact our customer support team. You cannot book it over the phone though, so don't try to do that with them. It has to be either email or on our website. I believe I answered some of these already about the custom route form and whether the drivers oh my God, offer information or suggestions. And then I did also, the last one was sort of a secret planted question for me, but I already talked about the reserve now, pay later bookings. So you guys already know about that one. So the last one I am going to touch on is how can I edit my bookings? Of course, that is in your travel agent portal. It's under managed trips. You can edit your confirmed trips. A lot of things can be edited, like the pickup location, the times, things like that. If there's something that you can't edit directly in your portal, we ask that you just email our customer support team, but there is quite a lot that you can manage yourself. So definitely check in the travel agent portal before going to them because it's just faster, if you can do it yourself, it's like boom, done. I've made my edit. So definitely check out and see what you can edit yourself. And with that, I'm going to thank you, or should I say gracias? Oh, whoa, my Spanish, so good. Thank you for joining us, though. All jokes aside, maybe I should practice my language skills a little bit better. Sarah and I are very happy that you spent this time out of your day to hang out with us, especially I know like if you're on the East Coast of the US, it's pretty much lunchtime. So I really appreciate you joining us. I hope that you learned something about Mexico, about the Yucatan Peninsula. I hope that you feel inspired, maybe to help your clients see some new locations, especially like Sarah mentioned, over tourism is a really big concern in kind of our modern world in general, but we kind of shouted out the specific issues in Mexico. So definitely check out those other places, the more underrated places. It's also just nice to get like a feel for the local culture a little bit more than maybe on like an inclusive resort in some places. Regardless of where your clients are going, though, we've got you covered. Our 24/7 customer support information is down there at the bottom, as well as our individual emails. So please feel free to reach out to us. Dennis, like I said, send me an email. I'll let you know. I can answer your question a little bit better. And Sarah, do you want to say any parting words? I know that this was sort of like your baby with the Mexico content.
Thank you so much for joining, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, we will see you next month. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Adios, as they say. Bye.